Hi, this is Bea. This little assessment that we're going to be doing Kangen water, little test, is about the 11.5. I'm going to share with you how you make the 11.5, but also I'm going to share with you what it's useful. So if you notice, this is in my profile. It gives you all the Enagic product lines, but it also tells you a little bit of what you could do for each of the different types of water. So I'm going to share with you the 11.5. And it says not for drinking. It says used for food preparation, for dissolving degrease, to unclog drains and toilets, to clean dishes, to sterilize vegetables, meats, and fish, to marinate and tenderize meats, to remove slime stains, to brush teeth, to wash clothes, lessen the needs for laundry detergent, to reduce redness and inflammation on the skin, and a makeup remover. So wow, that's a lot of things. And so I'm going to be sharing just a little bit of what it does to fruits and vegetables and why it's very important to use it before cooking. So I'm going to put this aside. And if you remember, last time I shared with you how important is to make alkaline water. And so I'm going to go back to that because it's very important and crucial.
Water 9.5.
So I'm making it fresh from the Kangen machine. And then I'm going to be using what usually you use to clean your fruits and vegetables is just tap water. And remember, this is a pH that they use for pools to test the pH. And so again, we're going to see the Kangen water is purple and the tap water is a little alkaline. And the reason it's a little alkaline that you'll see. And here, remember, it's royal, so it is the highest alkaline that you could have. Okay, and you see that. And here we have the tap water, and it's a little alkaline. And the reason, again, is because the government regulates it. But it regulates it, and it has certain chemicals on it because it wants to keep the drains clean. If those drains are not clean, then the water will not be coming in properly. It's going to clog them. So, and one of those components is lead. And another one you're going to be seeing is very crucial for you to understand, but I'll come back to that. So let me show you how you make 11.5. And 11.5, I put it on this container. It needs to be dark because it's very important that you keep the Kangen water away from the air, from light, and the movement is also critical. So the way you make 11.5 is you hit this little button right here, down on the very bottom.
Strong acidic water.
And then you press it here. And then right here, you're going to have the 2.5. And this is the one we use for sanitizing. And I shared that earlier in another video. Right here. And when you make 11.5, make sure that you put it low, and then you feel it like this. And then when it feels like it's a little slimy, it's ready. And the 2.5, if you smell it, it's going to start smelling like chlorine, and that's ready. So now this is ready for us. And like I said, I've already pre-done some 11.5. And so we're going to use the 11.5 to soak my fruits and vegetables over here. And again, this is very important that you need to be aware of. So let me go ahead and use the 11.5 here. And we're going to let that soak there. And then I'm going to be soaking my beans because I use a lot of beans when I cook. And then, of course, rice. And so we're going to let those soak. And again, with 11.5. Then we're going to use, most of you use tap water to clean your fruits and vegetables. So we're going to go ahead and use the tap water here. And then here on this side. And then the last one is our rice. And we're gonna let those soak. And again, the 11.5 is the one that we use always at the beginning, the first ones, okay? And now let's talk about the importance of you using 11.5. One of those components is that it's called oxidation reduction potential. That means if we say it backwards, it makes more sense. The potential reducing oxidation. So the way I explain this, because I am a teacher and I like to do these experiments with a lot of visuals, is I usually use an apple. And then on this apple, we're gonna cut it, and we're gonna see how after a while it oxidizes. And we're gonna use the same thing with the potato. So we're gonna cut that in half, and we're gonna see how it oxidizes, okay? After a while. And the reason why is because of the air. And remember, we shared that air is a component that is not very good for our Kangen water. And that's why we have it dark, okay? We're gonna see that. Another thing that I want to share with you before you see any of this is that the pesticides and fertilizers are always are oil-based. And so they use that because when they're out in the fields and they put water, they don't want all that chemical to go out just by using water. So that's why they're oil-based. And so 11.5, if you remember, it's a degreaser. And I'm going to share that with this little experiment that I'm going to be using here. And so this is just oil, and I'm going to put it on 2 little containers that we have here. And if you remember back in the days when you were in school, water and oil, what happened? Water and oil do not mix, right? But look what happens when I use 11.5. Remember, it's a degreaser. So let's see what happens to it. Ready? Look what it does. It emulsifies it. It separates it, okay? And that is what it's going to be doing to our fruits and vegetables. It's helping to remove that oil base that was placed there when it was in the fields. So now we know how important this is. And as you can see, this apple is already oxidizing. You see a little bit of it that is brown. And then our potato here is oxidizing too. Well, I'm going to be doing another little experiment for you, and I'm going to be using 11.5, and I'm going to soak our apple there so you could see what happens after our experiment. And it's still nice and fresh. And then I'm going to use the fresh side here with 11.5, and I'm going to keep it there. And we're going to see what happens. And remember, this is the 11.5. So let's go back now to our experiments and see what happens. So we're going to be looking at this and see how those are oxidizing. In the meantime, we're going to do our experiments with what happens to the tomatoes and our beans and our rice. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. So I'm going to use another pair of cups here so you could see the experiment. So I'm going to be using again the 11.5. Remember, we put that here. And let's see what happens. As you can see, it's yellowish. Okay? Let's look over here on this one and see what happens on this one. This is the one that's just from the tap water. And if you notice, There's a difference right there. One is yellow. Here's all the pesticides and fertilizers. And then the water, nothing was removed from there. So now let's see what happens when the 11.5 was used on the beans. Okay. And let's see what happens over here where it is just the tap water. And we're going to see again. Let's put it up in the light so you could see. There's a little bit of green, of yellowish, and this is very clear, okay? And now let's see what happens to the rice. Okay, and let's look over here on this side. And if we notice, let's put it up to the light again. You see it's very cloudy on this side and it has a little bit of color. Over here, still, it's a little clear. There's a little cloudiness, but not as much as the 11.5. What I want you to notice is the taste. And I'm going to go ahead and taste it for you, and hopefully you could see it on my face. And but this one, it's very tasty. It's very fresh. And this one, and so if you have problems with the children that they don't like to eat their fruits and vegetables, remember this is the reason why, because it had all the pesticides and fertilizers on them. And this one, unfortunately, I don't want to taste it, but I will just for you. But it's very soury. I hope you noticed it on my face. It's not as fresh and it's not as tender. Now over here with the beans, I'm going to share them with you. I'm going to put it up to the camera. Let's say that you're in a hurry and you want to make your beans. If you soak them with 11.5, they open up. They open up. And in comparison to the water, they don't do much. Okay, so look at the difference between them. One opens up 11.5, but not this one. Okay, there's a difference there. With the rice, unfortunately, I can't share it with someone, but I could tell you the 11.5 is fresher and it has a smell. It has a smell that is delicious. It smells very sweet. And in comparison to this one, it doesn't have no smell at all. There's no smell. So again, this one is fresh and this one, there's no smell. So when you're making the rice, it's delicious. The pesticides have been removed and the flavor is just, it's you can't explain it, but it's very delicious when you make Mexican rice or even white rice, okay? And if you notice over here, you see the oxidation in our apple. And even in our potato, you see the oxidizing here. But remember, we put these in 11.5 and they're clear. They remain clean and fresh. And so again, 11.5 to the potential to reduce oxidation and keep your body healthy, away from all those pesticides that are in the fruits and vegetables. Again, thank you. Bye, until next time.